All right, everyone here. Well, let's go. Welcome to the Miracle Recap. And this is the second episode. We're the second week of the year. It seems like a lot longer. Maybe it's 2.5 weeks now. So I'm happy that you're here. Then we can continue with the, say, remembrance or reviewing the lessons of A Course in Miracles. We used the Course in Miracles, like the Blue Book. This is an older version, but it really doesn't matter. We use the, say, the copyright-free public domain version of A Course in Miracles. At least that's what I think I do. It says it on the PDF. I trust that. And so the thing today is, the first meeting we were coming, like we were at lesson 6, the 6th day. Now it's day 13. So what happened in the last week? A lot of time-related ideas came to us, like new ideas about time came to us. For instance, that I see with my eyes, I see the past. Now that you don't believe that right away, but once you say, listen to what it actually says, the lesson, when you do your exercises, you literally start to see that. But then what? When you start to see that everything is already over, now what? So what is my function then? What am I supposed to do here? If the place that I'm in is already over, I can project into the future, but that would still be over. That would still be like the past. So what is going on is really the question then. And what will it bring me if I recognize that the past is gone? That the past is over, that everything I'm seeing is already over. Now, this is A Course in Miracles, and this we looked at last week too. It's like it's a course in miracles. It's not a course in rational thinking. It's not a course in trying to understand what's going on. Or it's not a course in trying to come to a better definition of yourself. Like all these things, no, that's not what it is. But it is a course in miracles. Now a miracle, if I would define it within my thought structure, I would limit it to this thought structure that I believe myself to be in. Because I literally created a construct based on my ideas about what everything is, who I am, and what the world is for, what God is, what my family is, what my dog is, what my who knows what is. It's like I literally defined my whole construct of self and gave it names. I see them, they're images like I see them. I see all of that, and I believe it is real. Now here is where we'll look at this week. Like in this review, we look at the fact that you actually see these images and believe that they are real. Because that has so many consequences, even though you hear now that they're already over. Like what I'm seeing is already gone. It is not there at all. You believe it's there, and that's why you think it is real. Now this is huge. So we're in a transformational journey. Yeah, so it is like you're in a dream. Yes, we know this as much. It's like we're in a dream, yes. And there's a dreamer. That must be me, because I'm dreaming this all up as my dream. And it seems to be too good to be true. Like literally everything is there. Every aspect of it is there. Everything that I think about is present. And the things I'm not seeing, the things I'm missing, or the things that I would love to come back to me, seem to be gone. And some of them suddenly appear back into my awareness. Suddenly things are changing completely, and find myself in a whole different construct, it seems. I can change. I can change in this dream in all kinds of directions. I can have a good life, and suddenly something happens and I don't have a good life. I seem to be in big trouble. Now this goes on and on and on, like a variety on a daily basis, maybe even on an hourly basis. Your whole day is different. And maybe even on a minute basis. You felt really good when you came into this class, and now you're not so sure. Or who knows what, or maybe the other way around, hopefully. It's like you don't really know what's going on. There's no certainty about what is happening in the next moment. Like the next moment can be like you receive this one call and that's going to change your life forever. That's very well possible. You don't know. But see, you got used to the idea that thread, in fact, walks with you in your time episode here. So you're familiar with the fact that there are incredible uncertainties, that nothing really is certain at all, that things can change in an instant radically. And that doesn't give you a peaceful feeling. No, far from it. Now, we have learned to adjust to time. We've learned to adjust to these uncertainties. We try to cope with them. We try to manage it as much. Like we try to secure the risks of it. And in the same time, that's not working out at all. Like suddenly there's a fire, suddenly there's this, suddenly there's that. And everything is completely chaotic. And you have to start over again, or who knows what the result of that is. So you can say that you live in a complete chaos, even though you structure it well. At least your house is clean, everything is in, at least I hope, and everything is right in place. So it's like, okay, here everything is organized in my place, at least this I know. It's like, this is my house. And in the same time, something can happen to your house, and which changes everything also. So, it's like, it's never ending, the uncertainty of human existence, and the ones that you can lose, like you look at your relationship. So all of that comes with that too. Like people can fall away. The one that you hoped would do something with you suddenly isn't there anymore. Or you fill in all the examples that you have. And so you can easily say that it's completely chaotic what you're actually looking at. There's no certainty in it. You have no idea what's going to happen a minute from now or 10 seconds from now. You just can't tell. Now, this uncertainty is what you call the dream, is what you can easily call chaos, because that is what it appears to be. It's like you try to make a timeline out of it. You try to make a construct of it. You try to glue it together by the idea of it's all your experience, or it is all happening in my lifetime, or it's all happening today at least. And in that you find some kind of organization or succession that you can deal with. Now this is, you can say like, okay, now tell me something new, because I know this is nothing new. No, the thing I'm actually trying to tell you is that you base your reality on this. You really think that that is your reality. You have no doubt about it. Otherwise you would not see it. So, and this is where A Course in Miracles comes in. It's like, no, none of that is so. No, you gave all these things the names. You believe in the construct that you think you are. You literally use everything to confirm that. Otherwise it would simply not be there, because for instance what you see is not even there. You see images, but you are not an image. In your truth of you, you're not an image. So there must be something wrong with this picture. Now you pick up A Course in Miracles when you are convinced, in fact, that there's something wrong with the picture that you're seeing. That you're maybe had enough of all the lies that you're walking around with, trying to be a persona that you don't feel comfortable with at all, that you don't want to be in certain circumstances, but that you think you have to be in order to fit in the story that is yours. I know I was really good at that. I could, in fact, like shape-shift into any kind of personality, whatever was necessary to fit into the situation. And I would try to adapt myself to that all the time. Like, okay, here's me as a house father, as a father of children. Here's me as an artist. Here's me as a son of a father. Here's me as an who knows what. You know, it's like you fit all these things in. I adjusted myself to that, to try to give my best or be as adaptive as possible, until I didn't even know who I was anymore, because I did not know how to respond to any of this. And I gave up on that. Now, so this is not about my story. This is about you doing A Course in Miracles. But you will recognize what I'm sharing, in the sense that at a certain point it's just enough. You don't want to play the role that you're playing. You don't want to be different personas. You know it has nothing to do with truth, and it doesn't give you what you really truly want. Now, this is, I think, an essential part in it. Like it doesn't give you what you truly want. You want to be in communication. You have an idea of perfect love. You have an idea of total innocence. You have an idea of beauty that is beyond words and thoughts, and so on. Like you have an idea about abundance, and that is like beautiful as it is. Abundance, that is, the grace of God is abundant, you could say. Like you have an idea about that, also like a memory almost of that. You certainly have a memory of that. Now, that does not fit with this world whatsoever, because if you would give everything you have away to everyone all the time, then something would happen. Like, well, there's something else. Like you will need to come to a higher vision in order to be able to give freely. If you give as a human being does in this world, and try to, in fact, that you have nothing left, that you, I'm a bit lost in this story, so I'll let it go. It doesn't matter. Like my example is more like this. You have familiarity with the perfect ideas, the whole ideas that are coming from heaven. And here you are. You find yourself in a place of limitation, and try to glue a construct that falls apart all the time, and that you actively have to keep in place in order for it to be at least something that you still believe in. Okay, so I hope that you know what I'm talking about. So we're using the today we're using some of the miracle principles, because I find them very helpful in turning off your intellect in order to listen. You don't need your intellect to listen. So that means like you allow yourself already to open a little bit to what is being shared. Very helpful. And there will be an expression that I want to take a look at. And of course we're going to read the review lessons of these lessons that we did from 7 to 13. And that's what we do a little bit later. So first I start with sharing some of the miracle principles. The miracle is also a time-related miracle principle. The miracle is a learning device that lessens the need for time. It establishes an out-of-pattern time interval, not under the usual laws of time. In this sense, it is timeless. The miracle is a learning device that lessens the need for time. It establishes an out-of-pattern time interval, not under the usual laws of time. In this sense, it is timeless. Okay, so that's a huge one. It's a specific. It says a special principle for miracle workers. So the miracle is not ruled by time. So it is available in time, but what does it do? It takes you out of time for just a moment. It takes you out of time. Now, when I give these descriptions, or when I give these visuals, you could say, they're actually experiences. So that's why the definitions are not going to fly in that sense. No, it's more like you read these and they actually resonate with you in a certain sense. So that does something with you, and you can totally trust that what is given. Now, here is only an encouragement or an enthusiastic impulse of the miracle. It's like, this is the one that lessens the need for time. Now, I don't know about your time experience, but mine, when I was in the middle of being ruled by time, it was very painful to be ruled by time, to think that you have to live this life this way until you don't have to anymore, like this, like until that passes. So to lessen the need for time is more like, that's a total escape from space and time. That's a total escape from a time bound life idea, life expectancy. Like that blows up in a certain sense. That is broken. There's this continuity that I'm experiencing of being born and having my last breath on this planet Earth, you could say. That whole timeline idea falls into pieces. It literally breaks up all the time when you start to practice miracles, in fact. So it's like literally there's a possibility to get out of time. What happens when you get out of time? You feel the communication. You feel there's light coming into your mind. Suddenly you shift into something else. And that's not really describable, it's an experience, but it's very familiar to you. When you experience it, it's like, it makes you suddenly like, it makes you happy that you're experiencing it. Like it literally feels like, here's the confirmation, yes, there's such thing as a God. Oh my God, how incredible. Here's a moment of that is real. And you return back to paths of learning, as it says in the Course. Like you come back into time. It doesn't matter. But this timeline that you were so familiar with suddenly has a dent in it, is cut into pieces now. It's getting smaller. Time is being speeded up, you could say. The time of suffering is being shortened. The time of suffering in this chaotic surrounding that you created for yourself is has a shorter lifetime in that sense. Not that you have a shorter lifetime, no, your life is eternal. So there's no threat connected to it that you might die earlier or something. It's like, no, that has nothing to do with it. So here it is purely about your experience as the true self that you are. Suddenly you experience that for a moment. You step out of your human context and experience a moment of timelessness. It can be very short, but it's always comforting and it's always confirming, yes, I'm the dreamer of this dream. And suddenly I'm also being lifted out of it. Now I'm back here. And it confirms my relationship with my brother, because in fact, when I experience this, it communicates, because I literally am taken out of my idea that I'm separate. That's why I feel connection. And here's my brother confirming that, in fact, in the reflection that he's giving me. Okay, so that was one of those. 48. The miracle is the only device at your immediate disposal for controlling time. Only revelation transcends it, having nothing to do with time at all. Now, this idea of revelation, we talked about that last time too. It's like the revelation is an experience that is given to you from God directly to you as an incredible, intimate moment with your Creator, in which you feel a sudden, release of fear and doubt. Like you come into a highly state of certainty that just happens. It's totally given to you. It has nothing to do with anything or anyone else. It's for you. You receive that. So that is completely free of time. You don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know how long it's going to take. You don't know anything. And you don't need to know, because then suddenly it makes total sense that you are receiving that. And it makes you indescribably happy to have the possibility of getting familiar with an intimacy that you were always looking for, even in your human relationships. And this surpasses it completely. Like it's not comparable to the intimacy that you have been used to. And it's completely freeing all the time. Like it does not bind in any kind of way. There's no possessiveness related to it whatsoever. And that's so incredible. So that's revelation. Now here's the miracle. The miracle is the only device at your immediate disposal for controlling time. Now how am I supposed to control time? Well, here's the thing then. This is about the control of time is in your hands if you recognize that there's such a thing as a miracle. So if there's such a thing as a miracle, that means that there's a possibility for you to have experience from out of time, from being free of this for a moment and coming back in. Now, with the lessons, all the steps that we do, I'm seeing only the past. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. A meaningless world engenders fear. All of this, like all of the things that you have been exercising the last 6-7 days, are in fact a preparation to experience a miracle. Because it is with the miracle, if I make my illusory world of time and space, I make that a reality for myself, what happens is that I believe that I am that and that I am in that. Can I experience two realities at the same time? No, I can't. So that means I already have a replacement for truth. And when I have a replacement of truth, I'm not going to let go of that, unless I realize that it isn't reality, but that's an illusion. Now this is the part that we train in the Course in Miracles in doing these lessons. Nothing I see means anything. I'm seeing only the past. What I see is already gone. It's nowhere to be found. It is really not there. And of course you have invested, and of course you believe for moments that it is there. And you react to it, you respond to it, you're discouraged by it, you're depressed by it, you're whatever by it. And still, it has no reality unless you give it value, unless you want it to be real for you. So that's a choice. Now here's the miracle then. It's your device to control time, to say like, no more of this. I'm asking for a miracle. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to be in pain. I want the alternative. So I'm opening myself up for a miracle. I'm literally coming into a miracle-mindedness. And that's exactly what is, say, possible and what is given, in fact, in doing A Course in Miracles. But we say like purification first is necessary. So that is like, that's what's taking place in the first 50 lessons. It's an episode of purification. Like you go through a wash of old ideas. Okay, empty your pockets, get all the stuff out, and put your backpack in the kitchen. Leave it there. You don't have to do anything with it anymore, and on and on and on until you're in fact like completely with open hands, having no idea about anything. I don't know what anything is for. If that becomes like an incredible joyous lesson for you, you're getting to the point that you accepted it. I don't know what anything is for. I've no idea, and I don't have to have an idea. So it's not that it's upsetting me. No, I'm willing to give everything over, because I made a replacement for truth, and I want to take my investment back out of that, because I want to know who I truly am. Basically, that's what we do here. The miracle makes no distinction among degrees of misperception. Like one misperception is the same as all misperception. It is a device for perception correction, effective quite apart from either the degree or the direction of the error. This is its true indiscriminateness. So the miracle makes no distinction among degrees of misperception. Like illusion is illusion, that's all. There's no, that would be, it's always easy to compare it with sickness, like whether it's a cold or a cancer, it's the same idea. It is illusory, that's all. So it's effective quite apart from either the degree or the direction of the error. Like everything that's happening in the dream is an illusion. There's no fussing about. There's no comparison to be made. And you can say, like, as long as the senses are connected to it, or a body is connected to it, it is illusory. So it's when it's still has to do with time-related ideas, temporal ideas, when it has to do with perception, when it has to do with any time-related idea of past and future, it is illusory. And you say, like, okay, so what's left then? I mean, my whole world is that. Now what? And it's like, well, this is what you will discover. Like I can tell you now, like, okay, there's only now, and here's that moment, and you don't have to, you come to this moment in which you recognize this to be everything, whole and perfect, and that's it. It's like, then in fact, you come to the peace that you are. Then you come to the realization of being instead of having or doing, and so that's really essential in this part. So I love to look at it like this. So the miracles are in fact cutting up the continuity of time, taking you out of it, even out of a body experience. Like you don't feel your body when you experience a miracle. In fact, it is like you open up your spacious self, and that becomes your experience. It is spacious. It is not contracted in a body, or it is not stiff, or it is not whatever. It's not painful. It is you are taken out of that for just a moment. So you start to trust, and this is probably the most important part, like you start to trust that there's an alternative. And by little pieces, little bites, bite by bite, you start to grow your certainty in, there's indeed nothing lost by letting all this go for a moment. Like maybe it wasn't what I wanted anyway. Maybe I'm honest enough now to admit that. Like I now see that if I take my investment out of it, things are starting to fall apart. I tried to hold it together, but it was a struggle, and now I give up the struggle and I see that it's falling apart. Or some things will still be there. And just like that, there was nothing necessary for it. Like no effort had to be made in order for it to be there, so it is there. Now, this is great. I wanted to share one expression that came to me to share. This is from chapter... oh, yeah, wait. Yeah, of course, this is also very helpful. Yeah, let's do that. Lesson 7, I'm going to take another look at it. Because lesson 7 is in fact also a review of the first 6 lessons. This idea is particularly difficult at first. I see only the past. Yet it is the rationale for all the preceding ones. It is the reason why nothing that you see means anything. It is the reason why you have given everything you see all the meaning that it has for you. It is the reason why you do not understand anything you see. It is the reason why your thoughts do not mean anything, and why they are like the things you see. It is the reason why you are never upset for the reason you think. It is the reason why you are upset because you see something that is not there. So this is a huge overview in lesson 7. So this idea is particularly difficult because it's connected to your whole time belief, you could say. But it makes it total senseful, like it has all the reason that you need to understand why this is actually true. I see only the past. That's the reason why nothing that you see means anything. You have given it meaning, but it doesn't have any meaning. And so on. And that's also the reason why you do not understand anything you see, because it's already over. Now you can say, like, how can you understand something that is not there? How can you understand something that has no meaning? Like, it literally doesn't make sense if you look at it in a rational way. It's like it does not make sense. So it also does not make sense that you think that this meaningless world has caused you to be upset. This world, as causeless as it is, cannot cause your upset. So that can never be it. And this is not so easy to hear this. I totally understand it. Like, I totally get it when you say, like, well, I have no idea what you're talking about. Because it is a bit like this. It's like suddenly you start to see it. And this is where we're heading to. So understanding is not necessary to do the exercises, and in fact also to do them successfully. When you do an exercise successfully, what does that actually mean? Is that you will experience a miracle, a moment of communication, a moment of relief, first of all. A moment of, you feel something is opening up. Like, oh, wow, I don't know what it is, but it feels good. I like this, I like this. So that is your, say, motivation, you could say, to continue, because there is more. There's always more. There's always more in experience. There's always more. It's always expanding. It's never the same. It's always new, and there's more, and there's more. So this becomes your mindset, in fact, not to hold on to time-related ideas, but to see, like, wow, there's something there, there's something opening up, even in this situation too. Wow, I really thought it was like this, but my definitions don't have any value or any meaning in that sense. They have no meaning, so I would love to see it in a different way. Well, here's my alternative. And I feel the relaxation that comes with it, that I'm not determined by my sight of things. Like, not anymore am I putting myself in my own prison all the time. So that's really lovely. That's really great about the miracle. And coming into the practice of training your mind. So Jesus says somewhere in the first chapter, it's like an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. Like, you will have to train your mind in order to accomplish something. If I get lost in the chaos of my own thinking, not knowing which thought to take in what direction, and not being able to receive correction or direction or guidance, you're not able to receive that when your mind is in chaos. So that's always with the little snowman, you know, this little thing that you shake and you see all the snow swirling through it, and then you put it down and you see suddenly a nice house appear or a snowman appear, and everything is clear again. Well, this is really what this is. Like, training your mind is like allowing it to let everything, all the debris, in fact, go down, so that there's clarity. And now everything makes total sense. Even though you don't have to think about it, it just does make sense. Now, this is in fact the training of A Course in Miracles and the purification process that we're talking about in the first 50 lessons. So yeah, so that's why it's great that you practice it. And that's why you want to continue, because you don't want to miss out on the idea of light communication. Imagine that you are very familiar with struggling in time and discover there's a way out of it. That's an amazing occurrence. Like, that's a life-changing occurrence, and it really is like that. Now also with the speeding up of time, or in fact the controlling time, like making it last shorter, breaking it up, you could say, is also something that's very helpful, and except from the fact that you don't have to suffer time. It also helps you to see that everything is given in the right moment. So it brings you into a place where that becomes easier to accept and also to live, because you literally are guided there. Suddenly your mind is open to receive guidance. And this guidance is the best for everyone involved in every situation, with no exception. So that's a very helpful tool, you could say, to use. And it's given to you. That's so great. Like, it is available. That's why you want to go through this undoing process, in order to be open and receptive and being able to be in communication, instead of working against the grain and trying to make something happen and try to suffer through something, or think that you need to sacrifice something, and all these ideas. So all this is very helpful.
I see only the past. As I look about, I condemn the world I look upon. I call this seeing. I hold the past against everyone and everything, making them my enemies. When I have forgiven myself and remembered who I am, I will bless everyone and everything I see. There will be no past and therefore no enemies, and I will look with love on all that I failed to see before.
Thank you.
Mon esprit est préoccupé de pensées passées. Je ne vois que ma propre pensée, et mon esprit est préoccupé du passé. Qu'est-il donc que je puisse voir tel que c'est? Que je me souvienne que je regarde le passé pour empêcher le présent de se faire jour dans mon esprit. Que je comprenne que j'essaie d'utiliser le temps contre Dieu. Que j'apprenne à me départir du passé, et je me rendrai compte qu'en ce faisant, je ne renonce à rien.
Merci.
I see nothing as it is now. If I see nothing as it is now, it can truly be said that I see nothing. I can see only what is now. The choice is not whether to see the past or the present. The choice is merely whether to see or not. What I have chosen to see has cost me vision. Now I would choose again that I may see.
My thoughts do not mean anything. I have no private thoughts, yet it is only private thoughts of which I am aware. What can these thoughts mean? They do not exist, and so they mean nothing. Yet my mind is part of creation and part of its creator. Would I not rather join the thinking of the universe than to obscure all that is really mine with my pitiful and meaningless private thoughts?
Thank you.
My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Since the thoughts of which I'm aware do not mean anything, the world that pictures them can have no meaning. What is producing this world is insane, and so is what it produces. Reality is not insane, and I have real thoughts as well as insane ones. I can therefore see a real world if I look to my real thoughts as my guide for seeing.
Thank you.
Je suis contrarié parce que je vois un monde insignifiant. Les pensées insanes sont contrariantes. Elles produisent un monde dans lequel il n'y a d'ordre nulle part. Seul le chaos gouverne un monde qui représente une pensée chaotique. Et le chaos n'a pas de loi. Je ne peux pas vivre en paix dans un tel monde. Je suis reconnaissant de ce que ce monde n'est pas réel et que je n'ai pas besoin de le voir du tout, à moins que je ne choisisse de lui accorder de la valeur. Et je ne choisis pas d'accorder de la valeur à ce qui est totalement insane et n'a pas de signification.
Go ahead.
A meaningless world engenders fear. The totally insane engenders fear because it is completely undependable and offers no grounds for trust. Nothing in madness is dependable. It holds out no safety and no hope. But such a world is not real. I have given it the illusion of reality and have suffered from my belief in it. Now I choose to withdraw this belief and place my trust in reality. In choosing this, I will escape all the effects of the world of fear because I am acknowledging that it does not exist.
Yes, thank you so much. So acknowledging that the world does not exist, that's what you just did. It's amazing, isn't it? Like, wow, you admit it. So now, here's the thing that came up for me as an association with this idea is that you have tried to stay in that, to conform yourself to the world and thinking that you had to do that. So you also placed an authority outside yourself with an idea that you had to do that. So first maybe your parents or who knows who told you that you have to do that this way. Like literally you had to place authority outside yourself to tell you that you needed to do this. Now this is how you've made this whole construct. So you peopled up your world, as it says in the Course too. It's like you peopled up your world to tell you who you are. And not like still meaningless ideas are actually talking to you, telling you who you are. So that's why there's continually in the Course we talk about attack thoughts. Like I place something outside myself to tell me what I am. And I do this in order to maintain a world that doesn't exist. And if you take an honest look at how you did that, you have to admit, yes, I did that. It's amazing. That's amazing that I did that. Like literally, you place something outside of you, then you're angry, for instance, that somebody tells you something and think it has to do with someone else. So this is how well you made your illusory world. You know, it's like you lived by it, but also you got into the hang of it. In fact, you could live freely your anger, your attack thoughts, in fact, you lived out your fear. Because everything that you brought to something, to an image, to an idea, everything that you did, in fact, was a step away from your true self. Now, instead of admitting that immediately, you started to defend yourself and say like, no, I know what I'm doing. No, wait a minute, I know what I'm doing. Like, you don't have to tell me what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Like, instead of immediately admitting, oh my God, that was a mistake. Of course there's no separation. You pushed through and you made it real. Now your defense, if I touch your defense, you would become very angry. You would really defend yourself. Like, that's easy to recognize. So this is how sensitive that is. It's like you have this if you look from an outside to a human being, you could say, it's like it is made of defense and denial. So in order for it to exist, it needs to attack. It needs to defend. Like defending and attacking are the same idea, of course. Huh? So if I defend myself, I must be attacked, otherwise there would be no need for me to defend myself. So this is how far you go in it, like how far you have went into it. Literally, you have used your brother to exemplify your own denial. How wild, huh? This is a wild idea. But you did that. You did that, and that's okay. So you forgive. We say you have to forgive. Your brother is not your enemy. Your brother is your savior. In this setup that we're in, your brother is your savior, because he is not anymore the representation of your denial, but you actually allow him to love you. And by you allowing him to love you and not defending yourself against that, you open up a whole new universe for yourself in which you don't have to defend yourself, but you find yourself completely safe in your defenselessness. Like, there's no need to defend. There's no need to attack love or anything anymore. Now, I think that's the greatest discovery with doing these lessons. There's nothing outside of you that can hurt you. If I come to accepting that more and more and more, it becomes obvious that my brother is my savior. You are literally showing me that love is real, that the communication is unbroken, that the only thing that was in the way were a couple of mistakes, that mistaken ideas that I held about myself and this world and my brother and about God. But no, it didn't happen. It was a mistake. It's over. It's gone. So that's why you can easily say now, it's like, I see only the past. If I believe any of those images to be true, I only see the past. And now it's a joyful lesson, because I recognize, oh my God, I've held that against the love of my brother. No, I'd rather completely experience the total love I feel for my brother, in recognition that we share a common source and that there's no such thing as danger or attack or anything like that. This is a revolutionary step in your whole the way that you know yourself. So that's so amazing. And it's so joyful to actually use these lessons with an idea, like, finally I come to the point where I can recognize myself as the love that I am, and change my idea about myself completely by not having any idea about it myself, but letting it show me what I am. Finally, I'm open to receive that. Like loving, lovable, and all this is like, this is my nature. Love created me like itself. And I recognize that in everyone that I meet because I recognize it in myself. This is in fact the accomplishment called the Course in Miracles. Like, of course there's peace when you experience that. Of course there's nothing that can attack you. No, that was only based on ideas of me valuing something outside, me giving authority to something outside myself. Something that could punish me, something that could hurt me, something that could abuse me, something that, well, on and on and on. So very much like an opening to your, say, experience of freedom by not making that happen, but just being that, recognizing that you are that. So this is, in fact, the review from 7 to 13. And it becomes more joyous all the time, I can tell you that. It's like totally amazing. So thank you for participating. Thank you for your attention. We're relaxing with some music still, and I hope to see you next week in the Miracle Recap. Thank you so much, and keep practicing the daily lessons, of course. All right.